Hello everyone, this is Robin. Thank you so much for signing up for my Time for Tea online class. These cards are so adorable. You're going to love them. Super easy to do with some fun bright colors and also a bonus card in this class. So you get to make 2 of each of these cards of 4 designs instead of 3. There's a bonus design since it was one of my promotions during the weekend of Black Friday or when you signed up for this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what should have come with your class. The Time for Tea bundle, along with the, is it called Tea Time? Spot of Tea framelit set. The Calypso Coral Ink, the Coastal Cabana. If you're one of my full class members, you also got a sponge. This is, we don't really use it on the cards. You can use it if you want on some of them, and I'll show you where you can add it. I just wanted to demonstrate it and add that to it. You also will have received your class materials packet in my shiny pink bubble wrap container. And then the only thing additional you'll need is an old olive ink pad, and you'll also need a Big Shot or a machine that you know works with our framelits. And I suggest using the adhesive, dimensionals, and then I'm also using a paper poker piercer for some of the framelits that have the little dots. So this is such a really fun framelit set and stamp set. And even if you don't use the stamp set with all your projects, I think that you'll use these frames later as well. So it just kind of gives you more versatility with the stamps. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this up. And let's see here. I need some scissors. Oh, I forgot to turn my computer down. It might be one of those days. So my husband took my youngest 2 boys to Disneyland. I don't know if you heard me talking about that. I can't remember if I told any of you guys about that. But he took them until tomorrow night. So they'll be home tomorrow night. Just a really quick trip. So it's just me and my oldest son, and then my daughter and her fiance were the only ones home today. Okay, so here's your Time for Tea. Did you guys like that I added the label? I added the label to this one, and then also blow out the candles just so you don't get them confused. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this on every class packet in the future. I know it's so helpful. It just adds a little bit of time for me to do that. We will see. I may do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll separate these out, and we'll go ahead and get started. Ah, got that stuck on there. Okay, so we're going to just open this up. Is it upside down? No. All right, the chipboard is not on all, it's only on my team members. Okay, so this is what yours should have looked like when you open it up. And I'm going to grab my Big Shot really quick. If you are new to my classes, welcome. Thanks so much for signing up. I hope you enjoy your class time with me today. We're going to, I had to grab my Big Shot really quick. I don't do hardly any editing at all on these videos, but I will show you where you can find all the information you need. Leave everything in order. I'm going to walk you through this step by step. I have everything exactly where it needs to be, but on the very bottom, above the chipboard, you will find this handy supply list. So this has all of the items that were used for each of the 4 card designs, and I do have the sizes that I cut the card stock out. I have the item codes for everything if you need to reorder any of this, and all of my information down here for my shopping page if you'd like to order from me, and it's all laid out for you super easy. So I'm going to set that aside. You also have received 8 for this class, 8 of our Whisper White envelopes that you can stamp up to match up with your card designs. There's a lot of really cute elements that you can use on your matching envelope. I'm going to set that aside as well. All right, so we're going to start with this top design. Let's see, which one is this? This one. Okay, what's the base? Okay, this one, the base is the Coastal Cabana. So when you lift it up, it's going to have, this is going to be the next card. So we'll set this stack aside. I'm going to set that aside for now. Okay, so we're going to separate these into the 2 piles. You will be making 2 of the designs, or 2 each of the designs. I'm only going to be making 1 in the video, so you get to make them twice. So you will have 2 of the Coastal Cabana. You will have 1 piece of the Old Olive, because we're going to use this with the Big Shot. And this is where I don't want you to get confused. On the top, you'll have 1 quarter sheet of the Whisper White. Set that aside with the Old Olive. And then you're going to have 2 of the Whisper Whites. These are cut down a little bit. They're not a quarter sheet. And then you're going to have 2 of the Designer Series paper. You're going to have your rhinestones. And I'm just going to cut these in half so I have equal amount for each card. And then I'm going to cut my piece of Old Olive ribbon in half as well. And I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Stampin' Trimmer. And just to make it a little bit easier, since I'm only doing 1 design, I'm going to go ahead and cut these in half. So this is my quarter sheet, so I'm cutting it at 2 3/4, just so I make sure I don't use too much of one side. And then I'm going to cut this as well to 4 1/4. Okay. So with this card, we will start, where am I putting that? We will start with our stamping first. So this one is a super cute card, actually. You guys are going to love this one. We are going to be using Warmed with Love, Steeped in Friendship. We're also going to be using the flower, the small flower, that's a 2-step stamp. So grab both of those. I already have mine to save time on the blocks. We're also going to be using these 2 steps, the leaf border and the background. And we are also using these 2. This one has a lot of stamping, so this is a truly stamped card. I know sometimes we just use 1 or 2 stamps and we use the Big Shot and Elements. This one has it all. So we're getting our major stamping done for this one. The other cards do have stamping as well, but not as much as this card. Okay, so that's all. That is all of, let me see, yeah, that's it. Okay, and these gems, I don't know why I cut these in half. So you're only using 1 gem on this card. So you're just gonna use 1, save the rest for another card. I don't know why I separated them, but anyway, I think it was easier for me just to cut them out all at once. Normally I don't do that. All right, so, well, let's start with our stamping first. And we are using Old Olive. And we are also using Coastal Cabana. What a fun combination. Isn't that beautiful? I'm also using some of our Stampin' Grid paper. So if you don't own the Stampin' Grid paper, get a background sheet of computer paper, because we are going to be stamping off on the outside of a piece of cardstock. So we're going to be using this piece. We're going to be using this piece and this piece to stamp on, these 3 pieces. So let's set this aside just for now. Okay, let's start with okay, let me see here. We are going to start with the Coastal Cabana because it's easier for what I'm doing. Okay, so for the Coastal Cabana, all we need on this little piece of paper, we're going to be doing 2 things. So 1 stamp we're using the Old Olive, the other one we're using the Coastal Cabana. So we're going to be using the smaller flower, and we're using the outline first, just a small piece up here, and we're going to use a framelit to cut that out, and we're going to use that in a minute. And then I'm using the solid image, and then we stamp it off first, and this gives us just a lighter version of the same color. Isn't that fun? Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Okay, maybe we should have done I'm looking at my project that's off to the side, and I'm wondering, how did I do that? I don't remember how I did that, but this is how I did it. Okay, grab your piece of the Whisper White, and we're going to put that on the white paper, and I'm going to do the Old Olive. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the outline of these leaves here, okay? And we're just going to stamp all around, and you're going to stamp off of the, you see how I did a little bit off, and that kind of, it gives it a seamless look. I'm just doing a lot of them on here. Do as many, as little as you want. This is absolutely, I mean, out of the cards, I love them all. I can't say this is my favorite, but it might be yours. I'm not sure. I'm having them all face up, the up direction. If you want to flip them around, you can. It's totally up to you. Okay, so I have these on here. While I have that out, let's grab the background. The background is this one right here. And we're going to stamp. Now make sure you stamp it and don't forget to stamp the ink off first. And then you're going to have to flip it around so it kind of lines up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're going to have it be on there. So stamp it off first. Do your background. Obviously mine's not perfect, and that's just the way I want it. And because I can't see on top of it. I'm not actually on top of my card. Yours might line up a little bit easier than mine. But I like it when it's not so perfect. Oh, except for that one was almost perfect. So I like it. I have to say that. I like it that it's not so perfect every time. Because then, bam, then they're perfect. All right, are you guys excited about the new Mary Poppins movie coming out? I don't know, I just thought of that. Practically perfect in every way. It's coming out this month. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a good one. Okay. And if you're new to my classes, I do chatter a little, so you can just tune me out or turn the volume down during this part if you want. I can't stand silence. I've always been like that. I am talking a little bit soft though, so if maybe that helps a little bit. Okay. Oh, Robin. And my daughter's getting married in like 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks from Saturday. Something like that. Let's see. Yep, and I think we're ready. I'm not really quite sure. All right, so I have this beautiful background done. I love it so much. While we have our Old Olive out, we're gonna grab our Old Olive paper and we're gonna stamp the sentiment and leave room because we're doing one of the frames around it. So I'm gonna leave, I gave you guys extra green because it's always my fear that you'll never have enough or you'll be just short of a little bit of the cardstock, and I want you all to have the best experience in my classes. So you have extra cardstock, so you can do what you like with it. Okay, now we're going to take this background and we're going to do the same thing with the coral. We're just going to add the little flowers here and there. Here, there, and everywhere. Just kind of put them in wherever you want. No, we're not stamping off yet, but we will be soon. And you will see the bottom of this card. Sometimes you're not going to see the bottom because we'll add an element. Okay, ta-da. Now we are going to take this one here. Where do I have it? There's kind of, you can kind of see the stamp so it lines up. There's a little pokey thing. Just line up the pokey thing. Ta-da. And if you don't, it's totally fine. Still looks good. Okay. And we're almost done with this background. This is why I got into stamping, is I learned that I could make my own background paper and I could customize it to the colors that I wanted. I was a big scrapbooker when I first started. And then I learned how to make cards when I learned about Stampin' Up, I learned how to make cards and I was loving it. Okay, I think I got all of them. Ta-da! Okay, so that is all of the stamping, right? No, it's not. We have one more stamp. So let's pull out our Old Olive again. Our Old Olive again. I did the wrong inflection of my words. Okay, isn't that so pretty? Set that aside. Okay, let's take our white piece of cardstock and we're going to stamp this wreath looking thing. We're only going to stamp it once. And then we're going to stamp the solid version. Stamp off, and that's called second generation stamping. And if you are not happy with your image, you can stamp it again. There's plenty of paper. All right. Now we are going to pull out our Big Shot. I'm going to set this aside. I don't know if I need it. I think we're doing more of the second generation stamping on, let's see, one more card. I think just 2 more cards. All right. So these are all of the stamps. I'll get them out of my way for now because we are using some of them again. Very versatile stamp set. You can use it on a lot of different ones. Okay, so I have my Big Shot out. So the framelets that I'm using the large frame here, circle frame, and I'm also using this one. And then I'm going to use, there's 2 of them, but I'm just using one of these, and there's 2 of these as well. Okay. We'll set this on here and on here. And this is what I like to use my little poker thing for. You can just poke them out really quick, or if you have a safety pen, just poke it out. Okay. And I'm going to stick this on here. Make sure it's even. I just like to make sure there's a dot on the top and the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to put this one on here. And just kind of line it up. You should be able to line it up fairly easy. Okay, and then we're going to also do this leaf here. And line those up as well. Okay, so this is my trick. I just put them on and then I hold this down. And then, oops, and then I slide it. Oops, I didn't mean to slide it, but that's okay. I just run it all through. Bring it over. And then we can finish up this card. Okay, pull this one off, and we're going to use this framelit again, but I like to put them away in between. There we go. And put these away. We're going to use these again as well. Save your paper. Okay, so now I'm going to poke the rest of these out of here. Okay, and put this together. I'm going to finish this card up. So what we're going to do here is we'll just fold this piece of cardstock in half, the Coastal Cabana, and I'm just going to use my bone folder to fold it. And then I'm going to go ahead, since we're not adding, the ribbon is actually going to be a bow, so we can add everything else on. So I'm using my snail adhesive, but it is out, so I need to add my refill that's sitting right here. Just really quick. Okay. And turn this over. I'm going to add this on here like that. And now I'm going to take my little strip, if I can get it, if I can get to it, my strip of designer paper. And that's going to go across here, probably about 1.25 inches from the bottom. And I'm just going to set this here. And I will go ahead and use either, you can use dimensionals or mini dimensionals. And I'm going to use the minis since they're the little babies. We need the little babies for these. This one will hold a real dimensional, but I'll just put a baby on it. These are our mini dimensionals. And they're just for those times when you don't quite need a full one. You just need a baby. Okay. Go ahead and peel the backs off. And this one is going to go on the top, warmth with love, and then I'm going to take this off, the backing off of this one, and I'm going to add this over here to the left. And then I'm going to take one of those rhinestones, and they're all different sizes, so you might not have one that looks like mine. It might just be a little bit different size. And I'm going to add that on that. Now I'm going to turn it over. Actually, maybe I won't turn it over yet. I'm going to add the ribbon on first. So now I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm just going to tie a regular little bow through here. And I should have given you when you cut that in half, there should be plenty, because my packet is the same packet that all of you get, and I cut and prep these packets all by myself. So I know that everybody should have it. Okay. And then I'm just going to pull it through. I just hold the middle, and then I pull them. Hold the middle, and I pull. Okay. That is good enough. I'm going to flip that around. Okay. And I'm just going to cut it a little bit. I don't know if I have my sharp scissors. I do. Okay. And now I'm going to take one of our glue dots. You still with me? Is everyone still there? Are we doing this together? Take one of my glue dots, put it on the back, kind of squeeze it in with my fingers, and then add that at the bottom. And then I'll turn the whole thing over, and I'm going to add dimensionals to the back. I don't know why I grabbed 4. I meant to grab 3. That's okay. I'll just use all 4. And now we have card number 1 done out of 4. Look how cute, you guys. Yay. Okay, so now it's time to move on to card number 2. Okay, we are on to card number 2. So let's go ahead and grab our stack. This next card is going to have the thick Whisper White base. And so this is what you will pull up from this. All right, let's go ahead and separate these two. This card will be a little bit faster. So you'll have 2 Whisper White, 1 basic black. You're gonna have 2 of this size of the Coastal, 2 of this one is Flamingo, 2 little strips, and then you'll have 1 each of Whisper White and Coastal Cabana quarter sheet. All right, with this card, we'll go ahead and start with our stamping first. I'm gonna set these pieces aside, and then you can cut these in half if you'd like. I think this time I'm just gonna leave them in 1 piece. So for this big piece of basic black, I gave you extra, extra, extra. So we are just going to be using this on that one. We're using the smaller size on this one. And then we're going to be using the flowers again and kind of doing the same thing that we did, just with different cards. Okay, I meant different colors. So I'll set those aside. So let's start with our stamping, and we are going to start by using Coastal Cabana. And this card we're using all 3 colors. We're using the Coastal Cabana. And we are going to stamp From Me to You. And that's going to be stamped right on the Coastal Cabana with enough room to cut this, use this framelit on. And you'll have a bunch left over with that one. Now that is all that we need the Coastal Cabana for on this card. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We'll probably want to pull out our background piece of paper again. So I'm just going to have it up here at the top. And I'm stamping the same ones that I did before on the Whisper White. Except for, did we do the same colors last time? No, last time we did Coastal Cabana. So you're going to want to clean off. I am not sure where my Stampin' Scrub is. Let me see if I can find another one. I usually have 2 around here somewhere. Let's see here. Okay. Where did it go? All right, I will be right back. Okay, so here's my Stampin' Scrub. And I'm just going to spray some of my Stampin' Mist on there, and I'm going to clean the 2 stamps that we need that were a different color. So that will be the little flower and then the flower background. And I think I'm gonna clean, do I need this one again? From Me to You, I don't think I need that one again, but I do need the Steeped in Friendship. We need this on one more, so I'm gonna clean this while I have it out. Okay. There we go. Ta-da. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use this white, and remember we need this for both of the cards. So I'm gonna stamp the outline, and we need just the one on here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this background and stamp it off first, and then line it up the best that I can. Looks good to me. So those are the three, and now we need just the cameo coral. Calypso coral. Did we used to have a cameo? I think we might have. And did I just clean these off? I don't remember. I did. I'm going to ink this up, and we just need one for this one. Now I'm going to go ahead and do one step ahead while we have this out. On one of the next cards we're doing, we need 3 of these exact same flowers. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to do them right here, right now, just to save some time later. Okay, now let's go ahead and take the background, and we're going to stamp it off. I'm going to line it up with that little thing. There we go. I'll go ahead and do the rest, and we'll go ahead and get these cut out. There we go. Okay, now we are done with this ink pad. We need it on one more card at the very end. Let's go ahead and pull out our Big Shot. Kind of clean up as I go, just for a second. Here is the Big Shot. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on here, and we'll just do this one. Well, I think we can do this at the same time. We're going to do this one. So this one is with the small. I'm going to go ahead and poke these out, because I do have some of them. If they're not poked out, they may not cut as well on the holes. So just poke them out. And then I'm going to put this around this one right here. I'm going to grab this, put it right on here. Grab this flower, and I know that you remember that there was another flower that's the exact same one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and use it. Saves a little bit of time when you're making projects that have multiple of the same. Sometimes Stampin' Up! Gives us an extra one, so we can do more of them at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to put that in, hold it flat, roll it through here, and then run it back. And then we just need one there, and I'm going to put the other ones aside. Well, actually, for the next card, poke out the holes in just a second. Okay, set that aside. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and, while I'm doing the black cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and cut these 2 flowers out. And this black piece is so huge, you guys will definitely have extra. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. And this one, I think I'm about to sneeze. It's so quiet. Woo, that moved. Okay, hold on one second. This moved a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and do that part again. There we go. Hold it down firmly. Okay, so that is all the cutting we need for this card. And now we can put this one together. Let's go ahead and poke these little pieces out right here. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. Save my white paper. I'll put these, oops. Did you guys hear that drop on the ground somewhere randomly? I found it, yay! Okay, so now let's take our paper piercer, and I'm just gonna go ahead and poke these through. Like that. Ta-da! I'll do the same thing with this one. Okay. Clean this off. Vacuum up my floor tomorrow. Okay, so now we're going to start putting this together. Let's go ahead and fold this piece of Whisper White in half, but I'm going to go ahead and score it first at 4 1/4 using my Stampin' trimmer. Give me a nice tight crease when I use my bone folder and fold it in half. Now I'm going to grab my snail adhesive and I'm going to go ahead and start layering these up. Now I'm going to start with this piece here, and since I've used a dry embossing folder, I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive on all 4 sides and a little in the middle. And then I'm going to put this on top of the Coastal Cabana. Give it a nice massage. You might want to use the tear-in tape as well instead, so it holds this one down a little bit better. Totally up to you. I'm going to add that on there. And now we're going to take the little strip, if I can get it, if I can get to it, this little strip of the Tea Time that I used on, I think I used it on every single card. Isn't that pretty fun? So just kind of even it. And then we're going to take the little piece right here and we're going to add that on top of the basic black. And then, let's see, they match right on top of each other. Perfect. And now we're going to do the same thing with this flower that we did on the last one, except for this one does not have a gem on it. Okay, I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals. Put one there. All right, sorry about that. I got a phone call and it kicked me off. So I'll have to call her back in just a second. Finish this up with this card. Okay, so we're going to, on this one, we're putting this down at the bottom. If I can get that off here. We're going to put this one. I accidentally have my dimensional in the wrong spot, so I'm just going to try to move it. There we go. If I can, then I will. Okay, I'm going to put this underneath here from me to you. And then I'm going to stick this over on the right-hand side right there. And then we're going to flip this over. I'm going to grab the big dimensionals. I'm just using 3 this time. That's plenty. And I'm going to put this in the middle like that. And now we have card number 2 right here. Got something on there. There we go. Get that off. Card number 2. Yay! All right. Now it's time to move on to card number 4. This one will have the Old Olive card base. So we'll have 2 Old Olives. We're going to have 2 Bermuda Bay, 2 Whisper White. Sometimes they get stuck together. Then we're going to have 2 pieces of the Old Olive, 2 strips of the Designer Series paper, 2 squares, and you'll have 1 each of the Coastal Cabana and 1 each one of the Calypso Coral. I'm going to set that aside. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I am just going to be grabbing the Calypso Coral and the Coastal Cabana. And we're going to take the teacup. I can't even speak for a second. We're going to start with the Coastal Cabana. And we're going to be stamping this piece here with Warmed with Love, Steeped in Friendship. We just cleaned that one off. We're going to ink that one up in the Coastal Cabana. Pull that off, set that on here. And now we're going to take the teacup And I gave you a ton of extra cardstock on this one as well. You're just gonna use one on each of the cards. We're gonna wanna clean off the teacup in between. Grab my Stampin' Mist, see if it's still a little wet. It is. Just clean it off. And now I'm going to open up my Calypso Coral. Ink that up. Do the same thing. And now we can head over to the Big Shot. Get our fingers a little inky first because that is a requirement. I'm gonna pull out my Big Shot. Now for this one, I just need to cut these 2 teacups. So I'm gonna get the teacup framelit. And then we're gonna use this little outline looking thing right here, this scallop. And what's really fun about this scallop is we're going to cut this piece down that I have already cut out for you. So we're just going to cut it. It might be a little bit wide, but that's okay. We're just going to use some paper snips and snip it off. Let's go ahead and cut out our teapot. Like that. Run that through. And then we're going to cut out our second teapot and then the other half of this. So I've got one teapot and then our other teapot. Okay, now let's go ahead and take this piece. And if it doesn't come off, you can just snip off the end. And then we'll poke that out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this here, this square here, and we're going to kind of measure this piece here. So we just want the bottom flaps to line up with the bottom of the cardstock, and then you can take that off if you want. And I think I'm good to go. Sit down firmly, roll it through. Okay, that's all of the Big Shot work we need for this card. And that one just came right off. And if yours doesn't, you can just cut it with snips. Okay, so let me go ahead and get my teacups ready. And there we go. Okay, second one I've dropped on the floor today. Okay, I'm gonna take my paper piercer tool and I'm gonna go ahead and poke these out. Poke those all out. Okay, now we can start layering up and put this card together. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by just adding this on here. We've already seen kind of how it's gonna go. Put adhesive on the back. Make that in here so it's kind of even, perfect. And now let's go ahead and take our card base, fold this in half. I'm gonna take some of our adhesive, grab the white. Okay, I'm gonna start with the strip of Designer Series paper, and then we're gonna add this to the left side of the Whisper White. Might be a little bit long, so we're gonna just snip off the end actually on this one. Or unless you want it to go from Bermuda to Bermuda, you could do that as well. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. You'll have just a little bit of a border showing through. I'm going to add this on to the Old Olive. And then now I'm going to take some dimensionals. I think I'm going to do 5 with this one. Put one in the middle. Here we go. Put this up here to the left, just like this. And now we're going to kind of stagger the teapots. And I'm going to do this first. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive on the back of my coral one. So they kind of are like this, staggered a little bit. And then I'm going to add dimensionals on the back of those. Like that. And then we're going to put this right here, and then I'm going to add some of these beautiful rhinestones. I'm going to put them right here in the middle of each teacup. Did I call them teapots earlier? They're teacups. There we go. And there is card number 3. So it's time to move on to card number 4. It will be the last of everything in the stack. So we're going to have 2 of the Thick Whisper Whites, 2 of the Old Olive, 2 of the embossed Coastal Cabana, 2 of the strips, and then you'll have 2 of this size, if I can get it. I know they're there, they're stuck, there they are. 2 of each, and then you'll have 1 each of these. So now, actually we don't need to use the white because we've already done the flowers, so enjoy your extra piece of white cardstock, have fun with that. We're going to go ahead and do our stamping first. So we're going to be stamping on this piece of Whisper White, and we're stamping on this piece of Old Olive. We're going to be using Cabana and Olive, and then we've already used the Calypso on the flowers. And we need to go ahead and clean off the teacup. And we're using You Fill, where is it? You Fill My Cup with Happiness on the Coastal, and then we're using the teacup with the Old Olive. Perfect. I'll go ahead and start with the Old Olive. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it sideways just because I just wanted to do it a different way. And then I'm gonna go ahead, oh, we need coral again, sorry. There's one more thing we're gonna do. Okay, so You Fill My Cup with Happiness is going to go in the middle of this. And then we have one more stamp I forgot about. We're going to use the little corner stamp, the corner looking stamp. And we're going to use that with Calypso Coral. I'm going to go ahead and ink it up. And we're going to just put it on the corner on the right and the corner on the left. Try not to rock your block so you don't get ink on your paper. And there it is. We have a little bit of a fun little, is that a not a filigree, some sort of little shape on the side. Okay, so now we just need to go through the Big Shot with the teacup. Right through here. This is going to be a longer class video because we added the extra project. But that's okay, it's going to be worth it. Okay, put this through, run that through, and here we are. Okay, so now I have all the elements to my card, including my 3 white flowers. Sorry if that's driving anyone crazy that my background was crooked. It's driving me a little crazy. Okay, now if you wanted to use your sponge and add a little bit of sponge technique, I'll just show you on this card, or this little piece of white here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add Coastal Cabana. You can use any of the colors on any of the cards. And I'm just going to sponge it up a little bit, and then you just kind of pull it towards you. Just gives you a little bit of a border, just like this. And when I first started making cards, I sponged everything. Every swap, every card, every class, we had the sponge. We used the sponge on it, and it was really fun. So it's a fun way to add just a little more color to your card. So I'm gonna go ahead and score this piece of Thick Whisper White. Okay. And I'll go ahead and just fold this in half right here. Whoops. There we go. And we'll go ahead and start with, okay, this one's a fun one. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this piece here. And we're going to layer this like this. So we kind of want it off to the side like that. So let's go ahead and put adhesive on all 4 sides and a little in the middle of our Coastal Cabana. And we're gonna kind of touch it to where it meets all the sides kind of, and it might not be perfect, but that's okay. Give it a nice little massage. And we're gonna turn this over. This one's gonna go straight across like this. And then we're gonna add the strip of the designer paper. And I'm gonna have this kind of go across right here from green to green. And next we're going to go ahead and add our seine. If you want to add 5, you can. Totally up to you. That's going to go right here. And now we're going to take this cute teacup. We're going to do something really super cute with it. So you can just use adhesive on 2 of these. I'm just going to grab some glue dots. I like glue dots because they're super easy just to throw on here. And I'm going to just peel them off. Because they're super easy, because I just said, oh, they're super easy, and then I couldn't get it off. So one's going to go on the left, one's going to go on the right, and make sure it's not stuck to my mat. And then we're going to take a dimensional for this piece here, of course, and then this one's going to go in the center, and it's going to be up just a little bit. And then we're going to take a rhinestone, and it's going to go on the center one right here, in the center. Pretty, huh? I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some more dimensionals. Just add 3 on here. And now we're going to add that just kind of right here. And now we have our final card. Look at that. So this is without the sponging, this is with the sponging. So it just adds a little touch of color. So thank you so much for signing up for this class. I enjoyed designing these cards and making them with you. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful month. We have a busy month. These are my last classes for the month of December, so watch for my pre-orders for my January classes along with my paper and product share. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.